Hello, everyone. As many of you may know, Tim Bartais is unable to attend today because his son is getting married. So we will start with an audio recording from Tim, and then we will go on to opening statements in order that the candidates have drawn from a box. Anyway, so we'll start with Tim Bartais' statement to you. Thank you.
My name is Timothy Bartais. The only reason I'm not with you today is because today is the day of our son's wedding. In fact, at this exact moment, as you listen to this, he's standing with his bride at the altar. As a parent, I know this is a choice that you as parents or any of the other fine candidates would have made. Priorities are a key in all aspects of life, especially when it comes to family. And priority is the one salient point as to why I have decided to offer to serve the community of Hidden Valley Lake. My wife and I, Julie, have lived in Hidden Valley Lake for just over 2 years. What we have come to know is a community full of depth and potential, comprised of great and caring people. I want to represent you and help this community reach its full potential. I'm a semi-retired man with a career of over 30 years of senior executive leadership at a Fortune 500 company and as a delegate for the Teamsters Union. I know what it's like to sit on both sides of the table. I also have strong negotiating and leadership skills. I'm also very familiar with balancing budgets, turning organizations around, and with the tough decisions it takes to meet mandated goals and objectives. Now, that being said, if you take a look at any HOA's mission statement throughout the country, you'll find that the main emphasis is on protecting the members' property values. If I'm fortunate enough to serve you as a board member, my number one priority would be to do just that, to maximize the property value of each homeowner. Our home is our single greatest asset. This asset needs to be safeguarded and strengthened as well. My other main concerns are ensuring the amenities we were promised and guidelines we were told would be followed are an accurate reflection of our community. We all need to get our community of Hidden Valley Lake in order by eliminating the compliancy dysfunction seen throughout our neighborhoods. I'm committed to doing just that. I'm a businessman who firmly believes in structure, order, and attention to detail. I'm committed to overseeing a transparent budget, doing a cost-benefit analysis of amenities, and prioritizing action plans accordingly. Such action plans include, but are not limited to, sediment removal of the lake, construction and reopening of the community center, and a strategic plan to ensure a financially sustainable golf course. I will provide the focus, vision, transparency, and accountability to secure our future. Now is not the time for blame. What happened before is in the wake of life. This is also not the time for special interests. A board member cannot be omni-focused. In a common interest community such as ours here in Hidden Valley Lake, a board member must look at the entire community as a body. Although I'm thrilled to be at our son's wedding, I wish I were with you to answer questions. I do invite you to contact me through my Facebook page. I'm more than happy to meet with you one-on-one or in small groups throughout your neighborhood. And I'm dedicated to provide the change we deserve. I truly feel I am the voice you need. So if you do care about your community, the important thing is for us all to be involved. So if you do nothing else, please get out and vote sometime in November. Thank you.
Now, Deborah, if you would care to give your opening statement.
Thank you for everybody for coming today. I think we all really appreciate it. My name is Deborah Fontenot. I moved to Hidden Valley Lake when I was a Army officer. We were going to deploy, and so I moved my family here so that when I was gone for 2+ years, my brother and his wife could help shepherd my children. My children played sports at Middletown, and I was really happy to come here. When we were here, they had canceled my deployment, so I was able to stay here for a while. I was deployed within the United States, so I was sent for training because I'm a registered nurse. When that happened, it was senior night for my daughter, and all the moms at Middletown High School that I made friends with, and my brother and my sister-in-law, they actually stood up for my daughter because I couldn't be there. I was in Texas. So I really, really appreciated that. And, you know, that was really the turning point and the reason that I decided to stay here. I had come and visited for years, the sense of community was so amazing, and I decided to actually give back to the community that gave so much to my family at that time. So I'm running for the board today because I really do have a background in business. I went to registered nursing school in Nebraska. I have a business degree from Nebraska. I have gone to school most of my adult life. Right now I'm working on a double master's degree, one class at a time. But I really like to have a good understanding of business and how we can make things better. It's sort of like a jigsaw puzzle, and it's so much fun for me. And because I have so much passion for it, I'm really good at it. I have turned hospitals around, clinics. I've been directors, managers. I owned my own hospice in Nebraska. I've done so many different things, but really the only thing that has gotten me here today is the fact that I've continued to build on the foundation of business principles. And I can bring that here to Hidden Valley Lake. I think sitting on the board is a great opportunity for us to look at what we have, which is wonderful, but there are opportunities. So just continue to build on what the current board is already doing to help us and our land values and our home values. And that's why I'm here today. Thank you.
Sherry?
I want to thank everyone for coming. Does anyone know the most dangerous phrase in the English language? Now, if you were here on Wednesday night, you know the answer to this already, so don't yell it out. But if anybody, most dangerous phrase in the English language? Okay, I'll tell you. We've always done it this way. My name is Sherry Cobb, and I'm a believer in change, especially if your community is changing. Though Hidden Valley Lake started as a 55 and older community, it is no longer that. How do I know that? Because once upon a short time ago, I moved here. I was 1 week post-kidney donation surgery. I drove 23 hours. I arrived with 8 children, and it was 115 degrees outside. All my kids lined up and just stared at me. What do we do? What do we do now? Where's the fun? What happens around here? All I wanted was a lounge chair by the pool so my kids could play and I could rest and recover. I didn't get that. I got a very sweet, apologetic lady at the office who told me, "I'm sorry, Mrs. Cobb, there is no pool this summer. There is no community center. There's no teen center." And I just stared and said, "Excuse me?" As my kids still stared at me. What do we do? What's for fun here? So just like you, I started asking questions. What are my assessments paying for? That's what I wanted to know. I decided to do an investigation. Before my husband and I got married, we decided to ask married couples about marriage. So we gathered some married couples one at a time, and we took them out to dinner. Some have been married 6 months, some have been married a year, some have been married 40 years, and we said, we're going to take you out to dinner. We just want you to tell us about marriage. Tell us everything. Tell us the good, the bad, and the ugly. And they told us everything. And so I decided to do that here. So I would meet people all over the neighborhood, and I'd say, tell me about Hidden Valley Lake. And everybody wanted to share. Lots of things to share. No one was without words. So asking and listening taught me a lot about what people here are passionate about. I learned what your wants are. I learned what your needs are, and I learned what your desires are. Now I have a responsibility to share this information. Because knowledge that does not result in action is simply information. I hope to sit on the board of directors to bring action to your ideas. I'm aware that not everyone can serve as a director. You work, you have to drive over the mountain, you work long hours, you have children that are small, you have other things that are occupying your time. I understand that. That's why I'm here to represent you. I hope your vote will allow me to do so.
Ms. Bowers?
Okay, can you hear me? Well, I apologize too if you were here, because I'm doing the same one that I did then. All right, my name is Diane Wiley Bowers. For those of you who are not familiar with me, I am currently on the board of directors. I have been and will continue to be a very active and involved community member. I have lived in HVL for almost 6 years. I own 2 homes here and even encouraged my oldest son to buy a home here as well. And I would never put my son at any financial risk if I did not think Hidden Valley Lake was going to be have a successful future. I've come to love living here and have made many friends that I care deeply about. It would be an honor to represent them and the rest of the community going forward. I am not on social media, as it is against board policy. So at this point, I would like to share a little bit more about myself, as you may not have seen as much information about me as you've seen regarding the other candidates. In terms of community involvement, I was chairman of the Food and Beverage Committee for almost 2 years. At present, I am board liaison to the Food and Beverage Committee. I am also on the committee of Totes for Teens, a charitable group in HVL, and last year was on the fundraising donation subcommittee. I have been the VP of the Hidden Valley Lake Luncheon Club. It has 80 members. I pick the venues and coordinate the events. I have basically attended almost every board meeting in the last couple of years, and I attend many different committees. My educational background, I have a master's in counseling psychology and other undergrad degrees in social human services and behavioral science. In that respect, I really value communication on every level. I held a real estate license for 20 years, and I know the importance of maintaining our property values. Plus, I have property management and business skills. As a member of the board, we just finished the 2018 budget. The restroom and showers should be in by May 1st, therefore allowing the pool to be open to the membership, and I expect the pool season to be much longer next year. The board will be placing emphasis in the next couple of years on the rebuild of the community center, the Hartman building, lake sediment removal, and the maintenance building. This will take a great deal of work, obviously. Important decisions will need to be made. A strategic plan will be implemented to bring this to fruition. Other community concerns and goals that are already in place are going to be addressed, and ongoing needs will be as well. Community input is a big part of these plans and goals, as well as adhering to a firm budget. As board members, we are responsible for the maintenance, repair, rebuilding, et cetera, and the preservation of all our amenities and common areas and facilities. I will work my hardest and smartest for you. Serving on the board is a very serious commitment. I have never missed a committee meeting in over 2 years. I have attended every board meeting and will continue to do so. I am dedicated to whatever endeavor I take on. Along with my educational background and community and work experience, I believe what I bring to the board is a strong work ethic, critical thinking, honesty, integrity, compassion, and kindness. My core values dictate my role. I am my own person, and I vote my conscience. I am excited and enthusiastic to continue with this board, which I believe will bring about the progress we all have been waiting for and deserve. Thank you, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to the question period. We'll ask the questions. The first question will be in the order you're seated. The second question will start with number 2. The third question will start with number 3, and we'll go around that way. Thank you. So, the first question, please give your exact order in which you feel buildings should be replaced: community center, maintenance building, and Hartman building. Why do you feel that is the appropriate order? Do you feel strongly about this, or are you prepared to go with any majority vote? Ms. Fontenot?
When I was here at the town hall meeting, here in this very building, there was a lot of concern about the pool not being opened. And not only that, but we had the ability, per drone, to see really the dilapidated buildings that we have. And so the community center is red tagged. There's nothing that we can do. We can't even enter that building. Not only that, but looking at just the carnage that was left behind by, rodents, rain. It was very concerning. So just to break down the question, which do I think we should do first? I really believe that we need experts, we need community input, we need our committees to help us kind of gather all that information. We need an action plan. It's hard for me to sit here not knowing all the information that the board has right now and make that decision. But I also believe that there definitely needs to be an action plan that we need to be able to see ongoing, to see what's going on.
I think the maintenance building needs to be tackled first, and the reason why I say that is because we have workers that are going in and out of the maintenance building. We have things that are stored there that have value. People's health is at risk. That would be our workers that are here maintaining our property. After our maintenance building is rebuilt so that our workers are safe, I think we need to move on to the community center, and I know that is something that we're moving forward to do. And I think the community needs involvement in that because the demographics of our community have changed, and so we need to find out really what is wanted in a community center. And then that would put the Hartman building as third. And I think if we are looking at a 1-year, a 3-year, 5-year, 10-year plan, all of this will be in the works in that plan. But I think that's my order of importance.
Thank you. Ms. Bowers?
Yes, just a minute. I think that is still being evaluated, but to me, it's a toss-up between the Hartman and the community center. The lake, I know people are very concerned about the lake, but the lake will need many permits. It's a very delicate ecosystem. The fish, the aquatic, the plants, all of that is going to take a while to do, even if we started right out the gate with that, and we want to make sure we do that correctly. The Hartman, as you all know, I was Food and Beverage Committee Chair with that. I see a lot more in that building, a little bit more concerned about that building, the roof, the flooring. It got a little flooded underneath last year. So I want to make sure that we don't lose 2 amenities and something happens to that. So again, it would not be, we don't plan on doing a 10-year thing, as I just mentioned. I'm hoping to do it within like 4 years. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Cobb now. Do you believe in surveys? Would you promote surveying the community on various issues? We've had surveys, but then some board members deemed them not definitive and went against the findings. Where would you stand on that? E.g., the last survey showed that the majority wanted to replace or repair the community center first. That was denied.
I think survey is one of the top priorities that we should accomplish because, as I just said before in the last question, our demographics have changed. We're not a 55 and older community when we're relating to some of our amenities anymore. We do have 55 and older, but we also have families with young children here. So I think to really know who's here would tell us what we need and what we want. So I would say a survey would be of the utmost importance. I think the last survey that we have on file, if I'm correct, I want to say 2010. I could be off a couple years, but I mean, it's not that much more recent than that.
Thank you. Ms. Bowers?
I think it was 2014. There was a survey that went in the ballot, and I believe it was 268 for the Hartman to go first, and of course this was before the community center went down, and 248 or something. So it was a bit of a tie. Of course, I want input from the community. Absolutely, that's imperative that we get that. And the surveys, yes, and not ad infinitum, so we never get anything done. But yes.
Thank you. Ms. Fontenot?
So that question, I'm really glad you asked that, because I'm going to just say that the current board and the boards prior to this, when I would go to the board meetings, the committees would actually make recommendations. the community would come up and they would speak. There was no survey involved. And let's just face it, the board would do whatever the board wanted to do. And that's not okay. I mean, we are to be good stewards of everybody's money. We are to hold the board accountable to make sure that they are doing what we want. So surveys, transparency, committee input, community experts, all of those are relevant to every decision that we're making. And I really believe that without even one element of all of that I just said, we cannot make a good educated decision. Those decisions need to be put on an action plan. They need to be put on the website so that every month, every community member knows what's going on with your money.
Time. Okay. This question is starting with Ms. Bowers. Everyone complains about communication in HVL. Not enough transparency from the board. Taping of board meetings has been shut down numerous times. Would you be willing to work with GM plus lawyers to bring us taped meetings? Can you negotiate? Thank you.
Let me find something here. Well, we just met for 2 days working on goals with a strategic plan here. And one of those was specifically geared to communication, more of it, more meetings, we realize that's very, very important. And I forget the other half of what you said. What was the other part of it? I'm sorry.
Are you in favor of taped meetings, basically?
Oh, the taped meetings. What I know now is that it was not, legally it was not advocated. I'm not saying I'm against or for it.
Thank you. Ms. Fontenot?
I'm absolutely for it. I think that just on Wednesday, they taped, our performance as candidate forum, and they put it out there on YouTube. I got lots of feedback from that. I think that we should not be doing anything against the rules at any board meeting. And so if we are staying within, the rules, our policies and procedures, what are we afraid of legally? I think we need to work with the attorneys. I think, the board members really need to be aware of, what we can do and what we can't do. And so I'm absolutely for it because I think the community needs to know what's going on and be very transparent.
Thank you. Ms. Cobb?
I'm for it because if I am elected to the board, I'm there to represent you, and I'm sitting there because you're not able to. So you should hear everything that's going on, and in the back of my mind, every decision I make is a result of what I think that I'm the best way I can represent you, and I want you to hear that.
Thank you.
And I'm
Ms. Fontenot, what ideas do you have for better member communication? And the person who wrote this question put in view, but I think what they meant to say was regarding, number one, no letters to the editor. Oh, in the Views magazine, excuse me. No letters to the editor. 2, no door-to-door visits. 3, no Girl Scout cookies.
I really believe that we don't have enough interaction with our community. 2 years ago, we went through a devastating time here. And, we had some of our beloved friends that have moved out of the community, and we've had some wonderful people that have moved back in. I think that we should be open to listening to what the community wants and supporting that. I really do. I mean, some of these rules, I'm sorry, but they're ridiculous. I'm just saying. When I looked at the spreadsheet that showed department by department how many fees they're collecting for tickets for people that have their garbage can with the lid off of it, for example, I mean, it was ridiculous. We need to stand up as a community and just say, you know what? This is our community, and you can't make money, off of these EC ridiculous rules. I mean, obviously, we have to have some, but come on.
Time?
Are you able to read the question again?
Sure. What ideas do you have for better communication, for better member communication in view?
In the view.
In the views, and I'm putting that in view of.
Oh.
Okay. What ideas do you have for better member communication in view of, number 1, no letters to the editor, 2, no door-to-door visits, 3, no Girl Scout cookies?
Okay. Well, I think that letters to the editor should be included, and I think people need a way to be able to speak to the board and ask their questions without criticism, and have an open door policy, because right now it's kind of an us against them, and nobody's really against anybody else. We're all in this community together. I think there's lots of ways we can help our friends and neighbors. There's lots of ways that we can come together. I mean, if it's on the books that, you know, trash cans need to be taken in, and we see someone whose trash can is not taken in, you know, maybe we need to see if there's something wrong with our neighbor. Maybe they're sick, maybe they're not well. Maybe we can just step outside of ourselves a little bit and make this community the place that we want it to be. There's a way to communicate that, then I think we all need to work together and do that.
If you think for 1 minute I'm going to speak against Girl Scout cookies, it's not going to happen. I want to get a couple votes, okay? When you mentioned the garbage cans and everything, I'm very much for a kinder, gentler, communication, and the tickets are, I agree with you. Communication, if you're talking about communication in general, as I said, this is right up there with one of our 218 goals. And letters to the editor, fine, I don't have anything against that. But also, we need more communication, clear lines, the view, we need more town halls, we need more planning events with the GM and with the board, you know, the green view again, where people can speak and actually communicate back and forth with us. The point is to be more accessible in general, maybe some member workshops, more ad hoc committees specifically focused on these concerns. So, yeah, there you go.
Thank you. Okay, this is to Sherry. Can we subvert past troubles and sponsor unity?
Can we? I have to ask you that, can we? I believe we can. If I were to tell you 3 rules that I would live by, I would say do the right thing, do the best you can, and always show people that you care. I would think that if we can show that, that would rub off. And I would hope it would become infectious, and that we could be a community that cares about each other and is able to move forward in the right direction. We don't have to hang on to what's in the past, and I think that's a lot of the damage that's behind us. And I know a lot of people have hurt and they need to heal, and I wouldn't dismiss that. A lot of people have been hurt by not being elected for a committee, or someone said or did, or on Facebook, oh my goodness. So maybe we could just work together to be who we want our neighbor to be.
Thank you.
Could you ask that again? Do you mind
Sure.
asking that again?
Can we subvert past troubles and sponsor unity?
Well, I would sure hope so. That would be a yes. I've reached out several times to people and I've heard several negative things. We have so much negativity in this community, but I have been willing to speak with anybody, and actually called or emailed or whatever. You're right, we're all in this together. I think it's really important to preserve that, hopefully. And I'm not for going back either. We're moving forward. If we keep just rehashing the old history over and over again and blaming, like, say, this board or anybody else or committee for something that happened before, it's just we need to focus on what's going ahead. I believe that.
Thank you. So this one goes. Dan?
Thank you. My sister once said, don't let your past define who you are today. And I think that really pertains to who we are in Hidden Valley Lake today. I think that there is some sort of divide, if you will, at times. But, you know, it kind of goes back to what I said. You know, we need to do more things together. We need to know who our new neighbors are. We need to embrace ideas that we've never thought of before. You know, we need to, it's kind of that saying, it starts with me. And so I'm going to say it starts with me. I'm here today because it does start with me. I really feel like we need to heal this community. I'm a nurse. It's kind of what I do. And I see people hurting still. We have not completely healed from, you know, prior, you know, GMs. We have a new GM now. We need to reach out and give him a chance. We have new board members in the past year or so. I think a lot of them, you know, we're on the right track. I really think that we need to have more social events, like the ice cream social was great. But how about block parties? How about you know, just some events to get us all together. Figure out who is your neighbor. If we do say that, you know, we have changed as a community as far as the demographics, then you know what? Let's embrace that.
Okay, that's 3 for that question. Who's,
No, Deborah just answered. Sherry, it's Diane.
Oh,
no,
Diane.
who was first last time?
Sherry,
Sherry, oh, okay.
okay.
yes. I got it right, I got it
You got it right then, sorry.
right. Okay, okay. If elected, would you work to open the golf course to additional uses, specifically opening the cart paths for walking and jogging?
I know that's come up before. There's been some legal issues. There's been some safety issues with that. And I'm not sure what you mean by opening the golf course to something else. What exactly does that question mean? Because, okay, it's an amenity, and we need to protect our amenities for everyone. We've got almost 600 homes around the golf course. I don't think there's a way to get rid of the golf course. And I actually, if anybody wants to meet with me, I got a whole list of reasons why that wouldn't work from a legal perspective. And also being a board member, I am, as I said before, we are for the upkeep, maintenance, to preserve our amenities, so.
So, my turn. I think that there is an opportunity to open some of the walking paths after the golfers have completed for the day. I think that there's a real risk in somebody getting hurt with a ball or something like that. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but it hit my windshield one time, and it just actually splattered the whole windshield. It was amazing how much it can hurt you. So I would say that there is an opportunity. The amenities are for everybody. We just have to figure out, you know, maybe a schedule and how that would work legally.
Thank you.
When I was talking to people and doing my own study, that question came up a lot, or I should actually say that suggestion came up a lot, where people were saying, we would like to use the golf course for more than golf. We want to walk. We want to run on the paths. Our kids want to ride their bikes. I'm definitely for hours on the golf course for the golfers, and then hours on the golf course where others can use the golf course, meaning on the paths. And I do feel that it needs to be monitored, which can happen by volunteers so that the golf course is not being damaged. But I think that as a community, we can work together, and that would be a little sacrifice from the golfers to let others on there, but it sure would bring value to that golf course for everyone else here that doesn't golf.
This goes to Deb. Do you think the directors should actually live here, not just own property? If not, why?
I love that question. Thank you for asking that. So right now, I'm waiting for the water moratorium to be lifted so that I could build my home. I have a few properties here. I'm in the process of buying my third. So I think that we're all in this together, whether we own property or we own a house. It's all about the value of the property that we own. And so I think that when you look at a director, I think that what we should be asking is, what is their business background? Are they able to run an association so that we run in the black? Are we able to meet our goals? Are we able to have transparency? Are we able to make sure that your voice is heard? I think those are the things that are a lot more important than whether, my house is built in February and I have, I'm waiting for it to be built. I mean, I really do believe that we all have buy-in if we own property here. So I really don't think that it's relevant.
Sherry?
To be eligible to run for the board, you had to own a piece of property and you had to be up to date with your assessments. So everybody here has proved eligible and you had to turn in your application on time. I think anything past that is a matter of personal preference. People have said to me, we like that you live in the community because you can see what's happening on a day-to-day basis. Well, then that's their personal preference. That doesn't, dismiss someone else, but that might be what you prefer is someone here. So I think even if you don't live here, hey, you can still run, you can still be on the board, but maybe not everybody would prefer that. Well, that's up to you as an individual to find that out and to see if that's important to you. Other people might have other things that are important.
According to the rules, there is a legal right to run and be on the board of directors. After being on the board of directors, it is a horrendous amount of hours, and I think the last month and a half, working on the budget, finance committee and budget meetings, and I can't even count how many hours it is. So if you live further away, it's a little bit more difficult. It's more of a challenge to be able to come to these meetings. You also get a big packet. Let's say on Friday, and the open board meeting is on Thursday. The packet's like this. So you literally have maybe over 100 pages to read, things to study, and to do due diligence, and to give care to the cases and things that are going to come up. So that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead. No, it's okay. You go ahead.
No one shows total faith in social media, but it seems to be a most important way of sharing news and information with Hidden Valley League. Shouldn't be used more or not? Sherry.
Can you repeat that from the beginning?
No one shows total faith in social media, but it seems to be a most important way of sharing news and information with Hidden Valley League. Should it be used more or not?
Well, I think the problem with social media is that people get on social media and say some things they wouldn't necessarily say in public, which I guess has its advantages and its disadvantages. I think we're getting a lot of anger on social media, and that's bad. I think that we definitely, this kind of relates to the communication question. I mean, we need a way to communicate in a positive way, but you need a way that you can express yourself, but I think everything can be done in a civil way. So social media seems to be the outlet right now. Is it the only outlet? I hope not. I hope maybe we can have some other open lines of communication, and people can express themselves positively in an adult manner.
We do?
Well, I feel a little bit like Sherry does. It can be very negative, and it can be a slippery slope to post something, and then all of a sudden people kind of pile on. And if it was more, I guess, well-behaved, it would be better. But yeah, I have mixed emotions about social media.
Thank you.
I think we do have a website, and I think there's a lot of information that's on our current website. I would not be opposed to having a blog where people can actually go on and, speak to some things that are going on. And I think that, having it monitored by our IT specialist, the GM. I think that would be really important, even by a committee, just to make sure that the comments are not inappropriate. But I think that it's difficult for some people to actually speak how they feel. And so when I talk to people and they say to me, well, I was afraid to say anything, or I was afraid that it would come back to me, I think that given a forum where they're able to actually ask the question and get the answer, I think that would make them feel more satisfied as a homeowner here. And I think that's really what we want, right? I mean, that's what we want, to make sure that we're cohesive, that we're a good community, and I think giving somebody a forum to do that is really important.
Diane, a high percentage of members have long felt that directors, despite pre-election promises, do not listen to member concerns and needs, and thus do not represent all members. Describe how you would make a difference once elected. Please be specific.
Well, I hope I have made a bit of a difference. I am who, part of what I said here is I have a lot to offer. I have a lot of knowledge, I have a lot of background, I have a lot of experience. I have been on a board of directors before. You have to be true to yourself. You have to vote your conscience, as I said. I'm very much into research and fact-finding, as I mentioned, crossing all my T's, dotting all my I's, and voicing my opinion, not just sitting there, but voicing my opinion in many avenues. And like I said before, I especially want these amenities to go forward. I think it's so important for the community.
Thank you.
Can you repeat that question one more time, please?
A high percentage of members have long felt directors, despite pre-election promises, do not listen to member concerns and needs, and thus do not represent all members. Describe how you would make a difference once elected. Please be specific.
I remember back to my college course of human relations, and one of the things that we learned about was that people matter, your voice matters, and I think if we don't include that with any decision that we're making, then we're really missing the boat. I have been part of Hidden Valley Lake since 2011, and I would have to agree. I've watched some of these forums, and not everybody's come through with really listening to the members. That's one of the things that I'm really focused on, is healing the community and making sure that your voice is heard. We may not all agree. I mean, I've been to board meetings where the board members don't agree, but I think it's really important to come to the middle of the road so that you can make decisions and we can get work done. And that starts with all of us, every single one of us. Just because if for example, if I was elected a board member, that doesn't negate me from part of the community. It only helps me help you.
Francis Chan once said, "Our greatest fear should not be of failure, but of succeeding at things in life that don't really matter. What really matters are the people here. That's what's important." And I'm the kind of person that I'm a good listener, and I make myself accessible. So even as I'm campaigning, I say, hey, I'm sitting at the mailboxes, come out and tell me what you think. Hey, I've got a Facebook page, come tell me what you think. What's important to you? And I think that as a board of director, like I've said before, and I'll emphasize again, I'm here to represent you. So if there's something really important to you, I want to hear about it. But you know what? I am, or will be, hopefully, one of a 7-person board. So can I make you any promises? Absolutely not. I can tell you what's important to me. I can tell you how I would vote, and that's what I would stick to. But I can't guarantee anything because I'm not the only person on there, but I'll do my best.
Thank you. Ms. Wiley Bowers, the idea of the board speaking with one voice isn't popular. It means all information has to be funneled through 1 or 2 people. There was a time when you could speak with any director. What are your thoughts on this? Thank you.
Well, I think you can still do that. I mean, I'm speaking here. I mean, if I meet with people and there's not a quorum, so to speak, I can give my opinion. I understand the one voice. I think sometimes that is appropriate, but I think I can also say how I feel to you, to all of you.
Ms. Fontenot?
I really believe that we should be open to hearing from anybody that wants to come and speak with us. I think that's really important. We can only make change if we have the feedback to make the change. And so being open to people and also being present to certain events, being present when they want to be able to have that conversation with us. I mean, there was a couple of times when I wanted to have a conversation with a board member, they told me they'd call me back. I'm still waiting. It's been like 3 years. So, you know, I think it's really important that we understand that, you know, we all have to work together and communication is the key.
Thank you.
I think one voice is important as a board because I think we need unification. I know that we're all a group of individuals, both in the community and on the board, but I think a lot of our problems from the past have been disunity. So I think the board needs to be approachable, but I think that it needs to come to terms on one voice, and it represents one voice. That doesn't mean everyone's going to agree 100% on everything, but as a board, when a decision goes out, it is the decision of the board. And I think if there were other voices coming out, that might cause a problem where people see a disunity and can put a crack in the armor, I guess. And we need to move forward to a place where we are unified. But I think everyone should be approachable on the board. And that's important.
Thank you. Okay, next question. Do board members need to stay off Facebook? Is it a main form of cross-community communication? This has been detrimental to them understanding the community. I'm not expecting them to respond to comments, but occasionally the voice of a director would calm things down. Do you have an opinion on the subject?
That might be too random when you say once, you know, sometimes a director may comment and not, and which director would comment and that kind of thing. I think we need to get it more together through the HOA channels where there's much more information available as to what we do, what we say, and I think there's been some media trouble for a while on the HOA Facebook page. So we need to get it together on that for sure.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think to protect our HOA, I'm not really sure that Facebooking as a board member would be appropriate, just because sometimes you find yourself in circumstances on Facebook that you wish you weren't in. So again, I'm going to say a blog or something on, you know, the current page where we're able to have that communication back and forth. I think it would be more appropriate than, say, you know, Facebook or something like that.
I think it's important that the board of directors members are reading Facebook, maybe not necessarily responding, but right now it's kind of the heartbeat of the community. And so if you want to hear what's out there and know what's going on, you need to be informed. I don't think that they should be commenting, but I think that it is something that would keep them aware and know what's going on with the people. So I think that that is an important social media outlet right now that maybe they can use to be better in touch with people.
Excuse me, do you have some margaritas? Can we have a break?
Should we take a short recess?
Okay.
I understand. But you guys are all doing great. Really, you are, and this is so good. So just keep it coming. So Deb, this is for you to start. How can we stop discord, for example, those people the other side, your group, etc.?
Wow, that would be amazing if we could do that. Again, really getting to know who our community is and our sense of community is, I think, gonna take down those walls. After the fire, I ran a support group. And when I ran the support group, I had all kinds of people come. And the one thing that we had in common was that we went through a terrible tragedy. Our community really needs to heal. We had a divisive, in my opinion, a divisive manager that right now there's going to be implications. We know this from lawsuits and other things that have happened. We had a rat, that was right in front of Hardisters. That stuff should never happen. What we really need to do is figure out what is the pulse of the community. What do we want? And somehow try to meet in the middle. Are we going to make everybody happy? No. But at least if we have common ground, then I think that we will start to heal. Having more activities, block parties, more ice cream socials will help. I really do think that.
Time. Thank you.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. How can we stop discord? For example, those people, the other side, and your group, etc.?
I think that's a matter of the heart. I don't think you can dictate a matter of the heart, but I think that you can be the person that's the change. So kind of sounds like we're describing high school a lot here in some of these questions. We've all graduated now, but I remember in high school, you had the cheerleaders and the football players, and then you had the art people. And in high school, I wasn't in a clique. So I was the person, I played sports, but I was friends with the cheerleaders and the sports people, and I just didn't see cliques, and I didn't have a problem walking into a different group all the time. And I think as neighbors, we can really find a common ground. Do you have kids that you can talk about? Do you have grandkids? Do you both like to barbecue? There's a million areas we could tackle here. So let's go ahead and break down some walls. Who's going to make a change? It's got to be you. It's got to be you saying, you know what, I'm willing to invest. I'm willing to invest in my neighbor. I'm willing to invest in my community. And then when a group of us are doing that together, there's power in that.
Okay. Sherry and Diane. I have it down on my list that I'm supposed to start off with Sherry, but that doesn't seem right. That's fine. I'll go
Okay,
ahead
were you
and
guys
start.
paying attention? It's a test.
I
Do you know who's next?
And the person wrote on this card, this question is for all three candidates. Curious about your higher education. Where did you receive your AA, AS, BA, BS degrees? And do you have a master's degree?
So you want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. I received an Associates of Arts and Science from Rockland Community College in New York. I received a Bachelor's of Education from Trinity International University. I just completed my prerequisites from Ottawamba Community College in Colorado to attend a nursing program. I do not have a master's degree.
Thank you.
I have a master's in counseling psychology, specializing in marriage, child, family counseling, or MFT. They changed the names. So that's from Dominican University. I have an associate degree in social human services and an AA degree in behavioral science. I have a BA in liberal studies, and that was specializing in psychology as well. I have a real estate license. I had one for 20 years. Yeah, that's me.
Thank you.
I have an associate's degree so I'm just going to say this. So somebody has actually received my resume in the community and has phoned my employer, so I really don't want to mention the schools that I've gone to because of things going on right now. But I will say that I have an associate's degree that I received in Nebraska. I have a bachelor's in healthcare administration that I received in Nebraska. I have a BSN degree that I received in New York, in Albany, New York. I have, I'm working currently on a double master's degree, my MBA and a master's in nursing with a focus on administration.
Great, thank you. So we have more questions. We could keep going. It's now 3 o'clock. We could take a short break if you like and resume, or do people want to do closing statements, and then you could be available to answer questions one-on-one down here in the audience?
I don't know.
Wanted to
A
kind of-
closing statement? If you-
Is there any input from the community? Okay, great. All right, and we'll go ahead and start again with you, Deborah, if you want to please give your closing statement.
Sure, thank you. I have a lot of education, and I've done a lot of different things. One of the things that I forgot to mention is that I actually was a real estate agent as well for 2 years. So I do understand property management and value. I also have worked in nursing. It's funny, we work on a nursing care plan, and that really is how do we take care of a patient from beginning to end with assessment, intervention, making sure that when they go home that they have all of their needs. And so it's something that I've been working on. I've been a nurse for almost 22 years. It's something near and dear to my heart. I also believe that we should have a document that is given to the public, to our community members, that lives on our website, so that after every single board meeting, you can look at that document and you could actually see in your action plan, what are we talking about today? It would have goals. Where are the goals? What are we doing? It'd have short-term, long-term goals, and it'd have interventions on how we're getting there. A good example of this would be, rebuilding the Hartman building, for example. And so if you put that on the action plan, and the goal is to do it in 3 years, what do we need to do in order to get there? And what are the barriers? That's how a business runs from the start to the finish. And without that, you really have no foundation. Not only that, but there's no accountability. How do we get there? Who's in charge of it? And how many times have we heard, oh, well, yeah, the board agreed to do that, but we don't have any information anymore. Where did it go? I really believe there's a living document that needs to be put on the website that doesn't go away. It doesn't matter what board member it is. It doesn't matter if I was a board member 5 years ago or I'm a board member 10 years from now. All that information belongs to us. It belongs to you, right? We pay our association dues. We should be able to find out, where is our money going? Where's the accountability for that? I look at the budget sheets. Are we meeting our budget? I'm going to be honest with you. We have opportunities that are being lost here. So when we talk about paying for these buildings, taking out loans, how do we get it? It starts with being good stewards of our money, looking at the budget, meeting our budget, but also to let our directors be successful, we need to make sure that those budgetary numbers are able to be reached. I mean, sometimes when I talk to some of the directors, they told me that in their budget, they had numbers out there that there was no way that they could reach those. So that's how you get turnover of employees. We want them to be satisfied. We want them to celebrate their gains. We want them to be able to reach those numbers. But if we consistently put out a budget that they're not reaching, they're not going to have, satisfaction. They're going to leave. And then what do we do from there? We have to then pay money to rehire somebody. I mean, it's a vicious cycle. Being in, thank you.
Sherry?
Here are some things to think about as you leave here. I've been married for 18 years, so I understand commitment. I hold a bachelor's degree in elementary education, so I know how to work with parents, teachers, staff, and children. I'm a team player. I've worked with children soldiers of war in West Africa. Doing hard things doesn't cause me to run in the other direction. I've worked as an administrative assistant for a mega church serving 15,000 people weekly. I understand the importance of fine details. I was a foster parent. I understand patience. I was a cross-country running coach and an elementary basketball coach. I know strong foundations are vital. I co-authored a young adult novel. I understand going at something again and again until you get it right. I own several of my own businesses, so I understand hard work. I work as a caregiver for seniors with disabilities and dementia. I understand and live by the philosophy, if you see a need, meet it. As you're hearing, I'm well-versed in a lot of different areas in life. But just because you know something doesn't mean you grow. But I have grown, and I'm willing to engage. I'm willing to take what I've seen and heard and be an influence for change in this community. As a Board of Director member, I believe it's my assignment to discover, understand, and remain on top of all that's happening in this community. It will be my duty to serve with intention and focus. Here are my goals as a Board of Director member. I will work to protect our people and properties. I will work to preserve our amenities. I will work to enhance this community. So what does this mean to you? Bottom line, right? Safety always comes first. It's not okay to put off till tomorrow what needs to be done today. I don't believe in debt. I wouldn't go into debt with my own money, and I won't go into debt with yours. So let's move forward together. If you'd like to talk with me more, I'll be at the mailboxes on Hartman Road Tuesday from 11:30 to 1:30, and I'd love to talk with everyone who wants to come out. Theodore Roosevelt once said, in any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The worst thing you can do is nothing. So I'd encourage you to vote. Talk to a lot of people that say they've given up, there's no hope, nothing changes around here. And I'm here to tell you that you need to stay present in this journey. You need to encourage your friends and neighbors that they need to vote, because that's how change happens. So thank you for coming, and I appreciate your vote.
Ready?
Okay?
I bring a good amount of previous community involvement, work experience, and knowledge to the table, as well as my present experience as a member of the Board of Directors. Can you read better, huh? On the board, I contribute ideas, thoughts, concerns regularly. I am someone who has done a wealth of research and fact-finding. I don't hesitate to provide those ideas and input to the board. As a matter of fact, I just called the CSD manager again on Thursday, wanting a few more answers to my questions. When he got on the phone, I had to say, sorry, it's me again, holy crap, sorry. I'm being such a pest. But that's just me, I like a dog with a bone here. I am detail-oriented. I will stay vigilant in regards to all the moving parts that will comprise the ongoing tasks that lie before us and are the necessary steps to make this community successful. I am essentially what my campaign sign says, which is committed to community and dedicated to progress. I have not had any financial help, or have I asked for any. I am running on my own ticket, and I am not beholden to anybody. I look forward to taking on the amenity buildings and the lake off our goal list, making this a reality. When it is mission accomplished, we would create a solid maintenance plan, plus continuing to monitor the upkeep, so this will never happen again. From a real estate perspective, I believe this will have a very positive effect on all our property values, as well as enhance the community's enjoyment of all our amenities. As I stated before, all of this should be done and adhered to in a firm budget. A lot of groundwork has already been done. The last couple of months have been full of budget workshops, as I had mentioned earlier, and a lot of finance committee meetings, et cetera, and many hours over and above the normal amount were specifically scheduled to accomplish this. Even better, the end result, I hope, would be a more cohesive, kinder, gentler community, so that there is dialogue with each other and will be more positive and respectful with each other. To me, it's a painful part of this community, and I personally have reached out so many times. And maybe being a therapist, a counselor, I'm kind of like, how are you feeling? How are you doing? What are your thoughts? Let's see. I do understand that there are many complex issues facing Hidden Valley Lake, and I would like to be on the board that tackles these issues. And I do understand there are many, many. I am not sure, but I believe only 40% of the people vote, and a few come to the open board meeting. Please take the time to vote this year. I hope I am also at I would try and be at some of the mailboxes. And there are a lot more topics that you could ask me, and we didn't get into more, like the chipping, the lake complexities, the Hartman, the community center. There's some interesting things going on with the water district and the CSD, of course, the moratorium. Gee, I didn't get asked about the
Time.
management company thing.
Time. Thank you all
Thank you all.
very, very much. You guys did a great job.
We would encourage you all to come down here and mingle with the members and answer questions person to person.
And that concludes the question portion. Now you can interface if you like with candidates.